Hello everyone, so today what we're going to be doing is we're going to look at the laws of indices. By the end of this video you should understand the basic laws of indices and just how the powers work and what they mean. And then you'll also understand how you can use that to answer questions. So let's look at the first example of the day. What is 2 to the power of 3? Whenever this means, this is just the same as 2 times 2 times 2. Because, as you can tell, guess what? It's 1, 2, 3 times. It's exactly what we have here. And that is the same as 8. Okay. Seems simple enough. But what about if it's a negative? So write down 3 to the power of negative 4. What's that going to be? Okay. Whenever it's a negative, it means it's in a fraction. So this is the same as 3 to the power of negative 4 is the same as 1 divided by 3 to the power of 4, which is the same as 1 divided by 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, which is the same as 1 over 81. Yeah? Just as long as it's in the minus, it means whatever you have in here, you put it on the denominator. What about something like this? Evaluate 64 to the power of a half. What this is going to be is it's going to be equal to 64 to the power of a half is equal to the square root of 64. Which in this case, a square root is simply what number has to multiply by itself twice to be 64? That's obviously going to be 8. If it's something like 27 to the power of a third, then it's going to be the cube root of 27. Which in this case is, okay, what number has to multiply by itself to be 27? It's going to be 3. And so that's what we do here. Okay, what about something like this though? Here you see it's 1 over 2, but here it's over 3 over 2. How are we going to do that? So again, all this is that we're doing is we're doing 36 to the power of 3 over 2. Now think of it like this, right? This is the root, and this is the power. So all we're doing here is we're doing the square root of 36 all to the power of 3, which is the same as root 36 times root 36 times root 36. We know that root 36 is equal to 6, so that's just 6 times 6 times 6, which is the same as 216. Yeah, so we have our root because this is the square root of 36. If there's nothing here, you can just assume that it's 2. If there's a number there, then it means by that much. But if there's nothing, you can assume it's a surd and it's sort of the square root. And then we're doing it all to the power of 3, so it's going to be like that. Okay, now let's look at how we can multiply and divide surds. Not surds, indices. So how would we work out x squared times x to the 7? Okay, a few things to note here. First and foremost, notice how both of these are x's, right? We call this having the same base. If this were x and this were y, we couldn't do anything with it. Okay, that's not entirely true. We can just multiply them together. But we can't change the powers, right? But because they're the same base, we can change the powers. Now, whenever we're multiplying, a to the general rule is a to the x times a to the y is simply going to be a to the power of x plus y. So we can use this to our advantage, right? X squared times x to the power of 7 is going to be x to the power of 2 plus 7, which in this case is x to the power of 9. And we can use this for something like this. 2y squared, and this is all to the power of 4. Remember what we said before, like at the start. 2 cubed is the same 2 times 2 times 2. So therefore this is the same as, so 2 to the y squared all to the power of 4 is the same as 2y squared times 2y squared times 2y squared times 2y squared. Yeah? So now, remember what we said before. Okay, first and foremost, what is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2? 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is equal to 16. And then we have our y's here. So it's going to be 16y. And how many do we have from the previous rule? Remember, we added here. So we need to add here as well. 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. Well, that's the same as y to the power of 8. Another thing is, notice here. Here is a 2 and here is a 4. And it's equal to 8. So we're going to have to multiply them. Yeah? So if we have a to the power of b x, that's the same as a to the power of bx. Well, we just multiply them together. Here is another indice rule you might want to note down. What about something like this? P to the 7 divided by P to the 4. Well, if when we multiply, we're going to add, what do you think we do when we divide? Exactly. We're going to have to subtract this time. So P to the 7 divided by P to the 4 is the same as P to the 7 minus 4, which is just going to be P cubed. Remember, and here's a rule you can write down. A to the x divided by a to the y is equal to a to the power of x minus y. And here is another rule you can write down. What about something like this? 9 to the power of 0. What's that going to be? Well, anything to the power of 0 is just going to be equal to 1. We can prove this if you want, because remember, if let's say we have 9 to the power of 2 over 9 to the power of 2, that's the same as 9 to the power of 2 minus 2, which is equal to 9 to the 0. And because remember, it's dividing by itself. So therefore, if two numbers are dividing by itself, it's just going to be equal to 1. So therefore, any number a to the power of 0 is just going to be equal to 1. It doesn't matter what that number is. If it's infinity, doesn't matter. It's to the power of 0. It's just going to be 1. I hope this video made sense to everyone. If you guys liked it, please smash the subscribe button so that you never miss a video. If you have any questions or comments, that's not the right color, join my Discord server, as I am still looking for people to join my server. And finally, if let's say you want some extra tutoring, drop me an email and we can organize a free meeting and a quote. Keep on learning, as you have no idea what you're capable of doing.